This period we're in, the coronavirus period, additive manufacturing is not going quiet during this time. Additive is advancing. Here's an example. An additive manufacturer right now doing more part production than ever before, even hiring on this special episode of the Cool Parts Show. I'm Pete.
I'm Stephanie.
It is happening for additive manufacturing. Welcome to the Cool Parts Show. This is our show all about cool 3D printed parts, and we're coming to you from within the isolation period of the coronavirus crisis. We thought we were going to take a break from the show during this time. We're not going to, because we discovered additive manufacturing is advancing quickly in some important ways during this time. We found some stories. We got to tell you these stories.
So we are actually filming this adhering to social distancing guidelines. It looks like we're sitting side by side, but actually it's two different cameras edited together, and we are in fact 6 feet apart at opposite ends of this table.
So here's what we're doing. We are filming some check-in episodes where we go back to companies and people we've featured in past episodes of the show. We're doing updates because in various cases we've found their stories have advanced pretty significantly during this time. We're going to start with Tangible Solutions. They're located near Dayton, Ohio. Production has really picked up for them. But first, Stephanie, maybe give us a recap about Tangible.
Right, so we talked about Tangible Solutions in season 1, it was episode 2, and we'll put a link in the description if you haven't seen it yet. And so in that episode, we looked at a topology optimized spine implant that was 3D printed in titanium. It was designed using the topology optimization tools in N topology. And that part was sort of a proof of concept. It was sort of a look at where 3D printed implants might be headed. But actually, Tangible Solutions' entire business is built around medical implants like that.
So we had a chance to check in with Chris Collins, who is one of the founders of the business. They're at full production now. They are realizing the promise of additive manufacturing as a scale production technology. Chris said they're producing implants now at the rate of 1,000 per week.
Yeah, so 1,000 parts a week, pretty significant quantities, but I think we should talk about the fact that there's a reason that business is booming right now, and it's actually related to the pandemic. So spine surgeries, like the implants that they're working on, are actually considered elective in a lot of cases, and so they haven't been canceled as a result of the coronavirus, but they've been postponed. And so hospitals are basically like stockpiling implants right now because they want to be ready to roll as soon as they're able to get back to doing these surgeries.
The implant suppliers want to have inventory on the shelf because all these surgeries are going to happen fast, and they want surgeons to be able to order just the right size, have just the right size available. They're getting ready for that. It's actually the opposite of the situation we've encountered all through this crisis. How much of the crisis has consisted of medical supplies not being in inventory, not being available. So they're trying to get ready to be much more prepared for these elective surgeries when they start up again.
Right, and so in order to support all of this ramp up, there are some gaps that they've had to fill, so one of which is hiring.
That's right, so even during this time, Tangible Solutions is hiring. Here's Chris Collins.
We've hired a handful of people during COVID as well, which has been tougher than usual too, because we're protecting all the employees by limiting or having no contact with new interviewees, and that makes it kind of tough. And doing it digitally is an option, but at the end of the day, if you're going to hire a person in manufacturing, they need to be in the shop floor and see what's going on, make sure it's a good fit for them as well.
What kinds of positions have you been hiring for?
Primarily engineering and some of the post-processing work. So deburring, finishing, CNC technicians are substantially harder to find than one would think. So we've gone through a couple. We've tried working with recruiting agencies. We've tried doing just putting out calls on social media. We've tried contacting the local community colleges, which we work with pretty heavily. word of mouth has been the most successful method by far for us.
So they are succeeding with additive for production, and the result of that is it puts pressure on the steps downstream from production. Because they're 3D printing in such quantities, post-processing is an issue, machining is an issue.
Yeah, and so one of the other interesting things that we learned is it's not just that they're ramping up in quantities. Tangible is actually diversifying the products that they make right now.
And everything you're busy with, it's all spine.
Not all spine. So we are making our way into extremities pretty heavily. So think hand, wrist, foot and ankle, and then some trauma plates that are other parts of the body. People are starting to get a little more creative and think outside the box in terms of just not a flat, solid plate. Incorporating, some of the things that we know to be beneficial that we can generate from additive, like the custom rough surfaces or lattice structure that's tuned to the loading conditions that the parts need to go through, topology optimization, all of these things are playing a heavy part. Software is really catching up, and the design engineers are starting to grasp the power of those programs. And then when you combine that with what we do with our customers to educate them on design for additive manufacturing, then they really can start to use the power behind additive. And as management's confidence grows in the technology as a whole, I think as people believe in it more and more and start to push the boundaries, we're going to see some really cool implants coming out here in the next couple of years.
Production capacity with additive manufacturing is inherently redeployable, right? It's a toolingless production technology. So that means even while they're delivering these large quantities, they're free to expand their product line at the same time.
Yeah, so I think that's it for this episode. We'll have a couple more updates like this coming your way, as well as a special episode on one of the biggest production stories that we've seen for additive manufacturing, pandemic or otherwise. So make sure you're subscribed, and on YouTube, click the bell icon to make sure you get notified about those new episodes we'll be posting.
More information, find more of our stuff at additivemanufacturing.media, thecoolpartsshow.com. You can find us on social media as well.